I've lived in Addison for about 3.5, 4 years now. I actually grew up in India. Growing up, I always wanted to get a pet, but my parents were allergic to pets. Once pandemic hit, we were forced to work from home, and I was obviously bored at home, and I thought of actually getting a pet for myself. So I started looking around. It was through Facebook that I came across the rescue group that I work with. Once I got in touch with Barbara at Dallas RRR, she sent me a few puppies that were actually wanting home, and I actually selected the first one that came my way. It had black mouth cur in it. It had some Chihuahua in it. She was actually abandoned somewhere in the border of Texas and Mexico. So the living conditions weren't too great, and they handed her over to me, and I had a little box in my car. So I put her in, and she was obviously very scared, and I was even more scared than her, because this was the first time that I was actually gonna take care of a puppy that young. I first let her scope the apartment, smell everything, and just let her settle in. That took almost about a week for her to actually respond to me and actually come to me. When I even if I had food in my hand, she would be very hesitant, hiding under the table and all of that. But 1 week is all it took, and after that we became best friends. With work and everything, you don't get to experience your sensitive side so much, and as soon as you got the puppy, you were actually starting to care so much for the puppy, and it was your own. If it wasn't for the pandemic, if it wasn't for me doing research about fostering, I wouldn't have done it. Maybe at some point in my life I would have adopted a pet, but fostering is something that I wouldn't have done if it wasn't for the pandemic and if it wasn't for working from home. The worst part about fostering is letting them go, but at the same time the best part is knowing that they are in safe hands. And especially for me, for Tula, once she was adopted, they were very sweet, and they took my number. They kept in touch with me, and even now it's been a year, and even now they keep sending me updates about Tula. If you have the time for it, and fostering doesn't take too much, especially if you're fostering puppies. You don't need a big yard or a big house. Even if you're in a studio apartment, you still can have some space for a foster dog. So my advice is definitely foster. It's something that is very rewarding.